Welcome to the LZ Sports Show. I am your host, Mark Adam, here in the WPG Sports headquarters. I am going to be joined by a couple of gentlemen in a moment, but I did want to point out that first, you can follow us on all the social medias, the WPG Magazine, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube. Obviously, this is we're trying a live show today, so here's hoping that this all works out. But without further ado, let's get to the guests we got. Obviously, I don't know what happened to Keith McKnight over here. He got all little or something. So we'll try and fix that in a second here. All right. Real quick, jump to the commercial break, because we will be right back after that to talk about the Jets game against the Leafs last night, as well as some other topics we had in mind. So bear with us. We'll be right back after this.
Make your house a better place to come home to with Aqua-Tech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We've been delivering complete customer satisfaction for over 40 years. Whether it's a fully completed backyard escape, a completely renovated bathroom, or a premium upgrade on outdoor furniture, Aqua-Tech is the only name you need to know. That's because if it's an Aqua-Tech job, it's an Aqua-Tech team working on it. No outsourcing, no subcontractors. We do it all. Visit our one-of-a-kind showroom today at 1065 Dugald Road. Aqua-Tech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We create better places to come home to.
Thank you very much to our sponsor. As you can see, I have fixed Keith McKnight. Keith, how are you doing?
I'm good, my man. How are you? Zoner, good to hear from you again.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
I appreciate having you on the show. So thank you very much for joining us here, and we're glad to have you as usual.
Right. Thanks.
So let's get right into it. Let's look at the game stats from last night's unfortunate loss to the Leafs. Let's go right now. Boom. Here they are. 3 goals for the Jets, which sounds good until you look at the 5 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That isn't so good. Another case where they outshot their opponent and won in the faceoff circle, but didn't win the game. Yet another example of that exact same thing that we keep talking about over and over and over. So I don't understand what the correlation is between the Jets losing in the faceoff circle and then winning games and vice versa. But there's something going on there. Very low penalty minutes in last night's game. Only 1 opportunity for the Leafs on the power play, 2 opportunities for the Jets. It was otherwise a very straightforward back and forth, up and down game. The score sheet looks pretty cool for the Jets until, again, you look at the Leafs side of this whole thing. So Mitch Marner absolutely having a monster season. Matthews as well having a huge season. Both of those guys are tied for points, 55 points coming into the game, 58 each leaving the game. So Marner keeping pace with Matthews, not on the goal scoring front, but on the total points front, that is. And Wayne Simmons gets a goal. Spezza steals one from Thornton. Thornton, by the way, when he was originally credited with the goal, he was marked as the oldest player ever to score a goal for the Leafs, period. That's a pretty cool stat. But then it turned out that puck actually bounced off of Spezza's skate. And Scott Oak actually interviewed him at the intermission and said, how do you feel bad for stealing that? And he said, well, yes and no. I felt it hit me. I wasn't going to say anything, but it is what it is. And he's got more in him, so he's not worried about stealing the goal from Mr. Thornton. Thoughts there, folks?
He'll just be old next to he scores. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. He's only going to get older as he scores these goals. That's true. That's a good point. I never even thought.
Yeah, that is actually a good point. You can't pinpoint anything better.
It's funny though, because a lot of times you're just like, oh, he's the youngest player to do this. He's the youngest player to do that. And now you got a guy who's like, it's the oldest guy in the franchise to have done what he's done. and that's a point of pride too. So now every time he gets any kind of point, they have to go, okay, change that stat. Now it stays Joe Thornton, but just change how old he was. He was this many years and this many days old. So it's actually very cool. That's a very cool stat that they're keeping.
I think the only thing they're worried about is he hasn't scored a goal in a long time.
Yeah, Tavares was going through a big slump. And then he was through
February.
Was that when it was?
He hasn't scored since February 18th was the last time Joe Thornton scored a goal. So maybe they should be worried.
Yeah, they probably should be.
He was probably so excited to have that goal, and then for them to take it away from him must have just felt rough. So
I think we're all still waiting for this type of 4-goal game.
Yeah, speaking of 4-goal games, and this changes the subject a little bit, Verada, who is part of the trades, all that, he scored 4 goals last night for Detroit, so I guess he's fitting in.
Nice.
I guess. Yeah, so that was a good trade, I suppose. It was Detroit he went to, right?
I believe so, yeah.
From Washington, yeah. So that must mean he's still mad.
He's still mad.
Yeah, he took it personal.
True. But yeah, let's jump back into the game from last night. By the way, for those watching live on the YouTubes, there is a chat box that you can actually take advantage of here, and it's this big black void right here. So feel free to post your thoughts in the YouTube chat. They will actually pop up live here on the screen when that does happen. So get at us. Also, if you happen to subscribe to the channel, there will be a notification as well. You'll see that at the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, depending on what layout we're in at the moment. So a very interactive stream we're trying to have here today. Be part of it with us. Join us. Chat with us. We really want to hear from you. That said, let's get to the game from last night, shall we? So, Mr. Keith McKnight, can you run us through your thoughts on who the player might have been that stood out for you? Something positive before we get into all the negatives?
Yes, of course. Who really stuck out for me probably would have to be Andrew Cobb. He really shows up every time the Jets really run into a tough seriously, and he flies under the radar as well. I don't want to say he's in anyone's shadows, with guys like Wheeler and Mark Scheifele and so on, and Kyle Connor, but he's there, and I think he was definitely my player last night. What about you boys?
Well, let's jump over to Zoner here.
So I'm not a big Pierre-Luc Dubois fan, but I thought this was probably his best game in over a month. He was physical, he looked engaged and interested. He created a few chances, he lost a few chances. So you got to take the good with the bad. I didn't like the penalty he took. But he just, I don't know, starting from the second period onward, the first period he was invisible, but second and third period he looked like a guy trying to win the game. Which I can't say for him every game.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, he played well. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he played quite well as well. I would agree with you. I thought Nikolai Ehlers was all over the place last night, and I hate using him over and over again, but he's trying so hard to produce, and the way he skates, the way he sees the ice, he doesn't rush straight forward. He takes his time. If he sees that the area is clogged up, he doesn't make those rookie mistakes and try and bolt up the ice into a bunch of traffic. He'll back up and organize himself so that the team has a better opportunity to score. Even if they're in the zone, if they're in the offensive zone and they need to retreat a little, he'll do that. He's not afraid to come out of the zone and do those sorts of maneuvers. So, regroup, get the team going again, and then turn around and then let's enter as a group instead of potentially giving the puck away just for the sake of keeping it in their end. I just thought the way he was skating last night and the way he was moving the puck, I thought he played really, really well. But that's my own personal opinion. So, am I wrong?
Oh no, I love. He's having one of those seasons. He's really breaking out, and I was about to say we should really enjoy this because this feels like the beginning of the prime. The golden era for Nikolai Ehlers. I feel like his brain is caught up with his body. Right? He's always been able to skate like the wind, but now he's making the smart choices on top of that.
At speed.
He's also physically stronger too now. There was that one play where he was stuck in the defensive zone. There's somebody draped all over him. He held him off with one hand and passed the puck over to Forbert with his other, with his hand on the stick. And that one actually led to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Yeah, so he didn't score, but still, it was maybe a good chance for Dubois.
Yeah, but he's like, yeah, I agree. I think that not all of the Jets' play was great last night. I think they did play pretty well. What were your thoughts on Hellebuck being yanked in the first period? We started with Keith last time, so let's start with Zoner this time.
Yeah, please go ahead.
We kind of laughed last time about Jake Campbell. Last time we met, he got yanked after 3 goals and 3 shots in 3 minutes. And this one wasn't that much different. It was 3 goals and 6 shots. But it's just one of those games. And I started watching the goals again, and it's like, well, the Matthews one, maybe he could have got that, but this is Matthews. He's the leading goal scorer in the league. He has developed that snapshot to being like a real weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you give him a pass on that. The second one, Simmons was in the slot, backhand. That's nothing. That's the prime scoring spot. And NHLers nowadays, their backhands, they have to be pretty good to make it to the league, right? So, again, some people would feel a soft pull, but I don't know. Given where Simmons was standing, that was his prime grade A chance to score. And the last goal, I don't think he even saw. It just sort of, he got screened, it bounced off Spez's leg, and went in But just for his mental health and for the team, he had to be pulled, I think.
I agree. I mean, and the same thing happened to Jack Campbell in the game before, right? Where literally 3 goals on 6 shots. And then last night, when you see the score sheet there, again, 3 goals on 6 shots. So it was a complete about face on the goaltending front. Brossoit stepped in relief and stopped 25 of 26. So the high shot totals is concerning, obviously, but yeah, seeing Hellebuck yanked like that is never fun. So, and then something happened to McKnight again. So while Keith tells us what's going on in his world as far as Hellebuck being pulled, I will fix his screen.
Yeah, you saw that right away being exposed and exuded early on. And Zoner, I don't want to steal that line from you, but please tell them right now, what's starting to show right now.
The cracks are beginning to show.
Yes, and it's crunch time here, and this is not the best time for the Winnipeg Jets to be going through something like this. We kind of thought that when they went through that loss in Montreal, that kind of was something, okay, well, let that happen right now, it's fine. But they just came off of a loss against Edmonton, and it doesn't surprise me that Connor Hellebuck had to be pulled like that. Yeah, no, I have to definitely be with Zoner on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
of course, you, Mark, definitely agreed with it.
It's funny because I asked Zoner last time we did a show how he felt about Jack Campbell getting the yank after 6 goals, and I think what you had said there was, it was a day where I feel like he probably thought maybe I shouldn't have got out of bed. Right?
Yeah, one of those days.
So, I think the mistakes started early, and I mean, it's never a shock when the Winnipeg Jets give up the first goal. Never. It's never a shock when they give up a 2-goal lead. It's just not. And oftentimes they can fight their way out of that situation, but it was obvious last night that was not the case. They were struggling to keep up with the Leafs. The Leafs are fast. They play hard. And there's also that looming thing where the last 5 trips into Winnipeg, Toronto has left with a W. Whether it be regulation win or overtime or what have you, it's been a thing. So I really want to see some better play from the Jets, but at the same time, they did play pretty well. They made some mistakes that cost them, and Toronto is a dangerous team that creates their own opportunities. Defending them is very difficult. It just is. So I don't know. It's hard to like. You don't want to crap on the team because they did play overall pretty well. They had a lot of great opportunities. That we saw some good skating. We saw the introduction of Jamie Benn last night, which we're going to get to in a second. So Jordy Benn. Sorry, wrong Ben.
Yes.
There's Jamie Benn and then there's Benny and the Jets. I got it. Okay.
Yes.
I just got to get that straight. It's so confusing when all these guys, like the Stahl brothers, the Sutter brothers, you know.
Yes, doesn't it?
Which, you know. So sorry, you were going to say something.
It's the parents' fault. The parents' fault for naming them similar names.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Jamie and Jordy Ben.
Jamie.
How about Jamie and Fred? Like that's way easier to not get mixed up. You know.
Jamie and Fred. Yeah.
You imagine playing with. Hey, Fred, let's go play some hockey. I don't know why that just sounds so weird because people in hockey who are Fred are generally from Europe and they go by Frederick, you know. But you get or like Freddie or like there's always a nickname, but Fred. I don't know why that just sounds so funny to me. It just does. Anyway, before this thing gets all the way off the rails, I really thought that the Jets played good last night overall, and it's hard to fault them. They only took one singular penalty. It was a bad one. As you pointed out, you didn't like that Dubois penalty zoner, but I didn't either. And a lot of Jets fans won't have enjoyed that. So, but overall, I thought they played really well. They got behind early, and getting caught up was just not something that was going to happen. The dagger was the goal on Brossois late in the game. That was a dagger.
They had a chance.
Yeah. So, but then, I mean, even then, the Jets rallied. They ended up scoring that third goal to bring it to 4-3. And, man, when the net was empty there, they had some dangerous looks at the net. So, I don't know. Sorry?
Yeah, they couldn't capitalize last night. Oh, sorry, Zoner.
No, but you go first.
No, that's really all I had to add there.
Yeah, okay, so Zoner, go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, you're right. That the game was close overall, right? They didn't get the fifth goal until the empty netter, and so it was a one-goal game, really. And the Jets did have lots of chances in the third. It just showed, but this is one of those measuring stick kind of games you hear about, right? Like how do we match up against the champ? And we're not quite there yet. Like this is the champ at its best. Like last week, they didn't have Matthews. They didn't have Nylander. This week they've got everyone, including the trade line acquisition of position. We got to see them.
Well last night.
Yeah, so we got to see what the real Leafs look like now. The Jets unfortunately lost Lowry. That maybe we can bookmark that for later conversation. But like other than that, this is the Jets team that we have, right? Like we didn't lose anyone for the game.
No.
So this is how we match up. So this could be. I mean. A lot of ifs now, but if we make it to the second round, this is what the matchup's going to look like.
Did lose? I think losing Lowry when we did, because that was the first period, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
he finished the period, but didn't come back.
Right, and that made a big difference because for the next 40 minutes, you're basically rolling three lines. You know, it's a big loss when a guy like Lowry is out of the lineup or anybody in your top nine. If anybody's injured during the flow of play, all of a sudden you have to shuffle the lineup plan that you had, and you don't have as many lines to run. You physically can't run four lines unless you're doubling somebody, right? So, sorry, you got something else there, Zoner?
And when you're using a center, it's harder to rotate the lines. Like you're basically double shifting somebody to make that fourth line go. And so Keith mentioned Andrew Kopp. Yeah, Kopp actually had a couple shifts on the fourth line as well as his regular third line duties. So he played a lot and did well. But the fourth line is actually been good for the Jets this year. So that did hurt. You didn't see them. Kind of showed that where the Jets usually have a strength of being deep, having good four lines. You can't use that now.
No, cannot.
Even on the Sportsnet feed, which is famously pro Toronto in every way, they actually said during their analysis that Winnipeg has the best third line in the NHL. That is a big statement, especially coming from a network that generally doesn't praise outside of the Greater Toronto area. So it's, I don't know. I just thought that was a big thing, and then all of a sudden you got Lowry who's out. That ruins what is the best third line in hockey, and the most dependable fourth line in hockey now has to be broken up to piece back together that third line. So I really think that was a huge factor in last night's game. Hopefully Lowry does not suffer the same fate as Blake Wheeler. Hopefully they took him out as a precaution, but he's fine. Here's hoping. He was very angry when he was going off the ice after taking that elbow to the head. So there was no call on the play, completely missed. We can get into the refereeing, but I'd rather not. There were some missed calls. I'm not one of those people that likes to say, oh, it was super lopsided, because most times it isn't. You don't like certain calls, but some calls go your way that you shouldn't have gotten, and it is what it is. But I really felt there was a little bit more of a tilt last night against the Jets as far as like missed penalty opportunities.
Yeah.
I think this is a
preview of playoff hockey. This is the way they ref the games in the playoffs. A lot of no calls on things that are borderline. That hit it hit him in the head. In the regular season, early in the season, maybe it'll be a call. Now it's getting close to the playoffs. They don't call that anymore. It's just one of those weird hockey culture things, right?
Yeah. So I get it. It's rough because you want guys to be healthy, but you also want to let the game play. Like, you want to let them play, but like something egregious like that hits to the head. There's a huge mandate right now to get that out of the game, and I think that missed call was a big one. And there was a couple of penalties that could have been called right up to and including the PLD trip that he got called on, but there was a bunch of missed calls right before that on Toronto's end. So it was rough to watch. That's all.
Even the Connor goal, right? If you watch, like, Scheifele is definitely interfered with.
Yeah.
Keith, you have to bring us back to positivity and happiness here.
Yes, I hope so. The Jets. I'm not giving up on this team, but they need to understand, like, you nailed it, those owners. Like, the cracks are starting to show, and this is not a time to allow this to happen. The coaching staff is probably going to be buckling down on these guys very quickly. Because we're coming up on. Excuse me, there, boys. Single digits now for the games remaining in the season. So they need to get this together, and especially when you just mentioned that we're getting into what playoff hockey is going to be like. The Jets have to understand that there are going to be no calls. It's a way more physical game. And the thing that I've noticed, I mentioned this to Mark that off air that this was an NBA article that I read that playoff basketball and regular season basketball are two different things. So I had to take that same analogy into the NHL now. And I don't want, when I use the term that the Jets are in for it, like, not like a rude awakening, but that experience that they I know they had the experience against the Vegas Golden Knights to build off of, but that's coming up on quite a long time ago now, and they need to just like move on from that, and hopefully they can get it together here.
Yeah, I agree.
Because 2 losses in a row. The last thing I wanted to say about that, the 2 losses that they have now are against, it's between the 3 of them, the Oilers, the Leafs, and the Jets, right? And they lost to the 2 of them. So
we're losing. Something's going on over there with your feed there, Mr. McKnight. But I take your point. Zoner, do you have anything to add to that? Did I lose that?
The next 10 games. I'm still here. Yeah. So I was going to say, these 10 games coming up, this will be our early playoffs, right? The games that matter the most between us and the Leafs, the Oilers. And the other team would be understandings. Right now, I don't know. Like with the pandemic, home ice.
I mean, maybe the Jets.
Endings here.
Not really sure what's going on with Keith McKnight's cam there, so we'll just flip to this. We'll get him back in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. But looking at the playoff picture, just so we can have a quick look at the how it actually shakes out. Just give me 1 second here. There you go. So, yeah, Toronto sits on top. Edmonton technically in third, but they're a point behind us with a game in hand, so their points percentage is higher. So this battle for second place, which is really what it's turned into, not that Winnipeg or Edmonton couldn't end up in first, but this battle is rough. And as you said, Winnipeg's home record is 11-8-2, where their away record is 16-8-1. So much better road record. But actually, come to think of it, Toronto's road record is better than their home record as well. They're 14-7-3 at home, where their away record is 15-6-2. So what is up with all this away success that they're having?
You're stuck in the hotel.
Yeah. So we're what I wanted to do was kind of talk about the game, and then I want to sort of switch gears, because we tried to record an episode and had a complete absolute tanking of that technology at the time, and we ended up with no episode to put up the other day after the Edmonton loss. But we talked about, because the 17th, I think, wasn't it, was Dustin Byfuglien's anniversary of being of his contract being terminated. And Zoner, you had written an article on Reddit about that. So do you want to fill us in on that while I try and figure out how to get Keith McKnight's video back?
Sure. So while I was researching the more controversial, parts of Winnipeg's history, a little bit at offense. And
Sorry, I'm just trying to get a handle on why we can't see Keith McKnight, but it is what it is. This is what I promised, and if you read the description below, it does say this will be an awesome show or a train wreck. So it's our first time trying to do it live. So that's the thing. There's all these tips and tricks and people tell you, but you never really know until you do it. And now we're seeing some of the things go not the way we want, which is fine. It happens. But yeah, so I really thought that Byfuglien deserved to be happy at the end. You know, in a breakup, sometimes you're like, screw that person. Like, Evander Kane, get out of the city. We don't want you anymore. But then when a guy like Byfuglien leaves, you're just like, oh, I hope he's doing okay. Like, yeah, like you're a grandma that wants to like mail him food to make sure that he's eating right. I don't know. He just was a genuine dude. He was always so nice to me personally, and he just seemed like when he was playing and having fun, he was having fun. And when he wasn't having fun, you just saw, like you said, like you just saw the face on him. He didn't want to be there. It was about like contract negotiations. It was about this. It was about that. It was about I just want to play the game and you want me to play this style. And that's not really what I want to do. And I'm not really enjoying that. And I don't know. Him leaving while everybody is sad about it and everybody on Reddit is, I miss Byfuglien. It's good for him that he left, and it's good for the team that he left. Like would we be a better team with him and his caliber of play? Absolutely. But it's if he's going to move on, it's good that he moves on so that we can move on with figuring out how to replace him and work without him. And now we end up with guys like Logan Stanley and Pionk and Josh Morrissey's been struggling a lot lately, but the experience he brings to the table is pretty. It's one of those untangibles you talked about in Chevy We Trust series. So, favorite memory? Did we got Keith's favorite memory for Byfuglien, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I was also trying to get the screens and stuff back, but Keith's camera died, so he has to turn that off and on, and maybe that'll work again. But that's neither here nor there. We're just going to keep rolling because that's what we're doing. And I also want to talk about the playoff picture as a whole, because two teams have already clinched. Those two teams being Vegas and I think last night, who was the other team that clinched? That was Colorado. Colorado. Yeah. So Colorado is in the playoffs. Yeah. So Vegas on an 8-game winning streak, Colorado on a 5-game winning streak. So they obviously haven't played each other in at least that many games. And yeah, they're absolutely destroying the top of the league right now. As far as points percentage is concerned, Colorado's in first overall. By points alone, it's just Vegas is in first with Carolina in second. Minnesota is making a late surge right now, winning 5 in a row, sitting in 10th overall, unless you look at points percentage, in which case they're 6th. But the point is Winnipeg has been at or around the 10 mark all season, but they're a little bit lower than that recently with the loss to Edmonton and then again to the Leafs. What do they need to adjust going into tomorrow night's match against the Toronto Maple Leafs to assure that they actually can get this win? Because those numbers, 10 games left, every win is huge.
Very big right now. I think they well, Connor Hellebuyck, it's good that they missed yesterday for his mental health. So hopefully he can just put that aside. It's okay. It's not a big deal. He wasn't a big part of the maybe he shouldn't be taking all this blame, but let them refocus themselves. I think like Zoner said, it was a one-goal game. The Jets showed up as well, and I think it could have gone either way. So hopefully, like the Jets regroup themselves, and I don't think too much of something that they'll have very much trouble coming back from. I'm not saying guaranteeing a win. I'm just that's all I'm saying.
Keith's growing up. He's not guaranteeing 14 wins in a row or something like that. I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not. I agree. I think that's true. Zoner, any keys to success tomorrow?
For me, I think it's the little things. Timing your pitches as a D-man. Watching your if you're forward, watching your back, even if D-man is pinched way too far, then making sure you hustle back with the right angle. I've watched those replays many times. What happened on that Austin Matthews goal, or what happened on that Simmons goal? Like it was just bad decisions a long time.
Sorry, you said we lost you there. You're cutting out a lot, but you said Forbert was at the center of that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he did good.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. Just you're cutting in and out. We lost you. So sorry, I'm gonna cut you off there. Just we'll give that a second to buffer. I don't know what's going on, but again, live show, possible train wreck. You can join in on the chat if you're watching live and on YouTube. You can actually throw comments up on the chat, and they'll actually show up in this big black void right here. Fill the void with your thoughts. We want to see it. So have your say. I mean, we know that there's a lot to unpack from last night. You know, we're not going to get through all of this today with our technical issues that we're having. So I think we will just say thank you very much to our sponsor, Aqua-Tech Pool Spa and Bath. They've been great to us. But I think we're going to call it right now because I don't want I don't want to be just talking for the sake of talking and people can't hear. So what do you think? Let us know by giving us a call on the WPG Sports line. Call 431-800-4555 or email the LZ at the WPG.ca. We want to know what your thoughts are, basically on all of this stuff. And while you're at it, because we brought it up, what was your favorite Bufflin memory? Right? Leave us a voicemail at the WPG Sports line. We can use those on future episodes of the show. And when you chat with us now when you're live, this big black void will fill up with your thoughts, and they will be immortalized on the show. So feel free to chat with us and get at us. We are also on all the social medias, as I pointed out earlier. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Like and subscribe on YouTube. That goes a long way. We're at, I think it was 96 subscribers. I hate talking about numbers, but the reason I say that is because once you hit 100 subscribers, because we're pretty new to the online game, to the live video game. So once you hit 100 subscribers, there's a bunch of things that it allows you to do on YouTube. So that would be very helpful if we got 4 more people clicking that big old subscribe button. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That would be great. So are you guys back? Can I say goodbye to you guys properly, or do I have to do this on my own?
Hello.
Okay, good. So Keith McKnight, sorry that your video cut out there halfway through, but thank you for joining me as always. And Zoner, always a pleasure to have you on the show. I appreciate your take and your opinion. I like the way you think the game through. It's similar to me, but with some differences, which makes conversing and talking enlightening and fun. So if you have thoughts, again, send them to us or use this beautiful chat box during live episodes of the show, and we will get you in. So for Zoner and Keith McKnight, I am Mark Adam. Thank you. We will see you next time in the LZ.